there, commercial construction coffee talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation Magazine. This is what it used to look like. We're digital now. Last issue I printed was August of 2021. I'm grabbing actually some archives. This is May of 2021. Derek Rogers, Director of Construction, Christian Brothers Automotive. Thanks for gracing the cover. And let's see. This issue was 160 pages, very healthy. Let's see what I was doing way back when in May of 2021. We did a hybrid event at this recording studio out by the new Braves Truist Park area. That's just beautiful. You haven't seen Truist Park in the Battery. Oh, it's beautiful what they did over there. And the Braves owned all the building. They did all the construction. It's amazing. I'm talking the parking garages, the restaurants, the two hotels. They don't run them, but they built them. But it's amazing what they did over there. We just did an event there last month and took a tour of the stadium and had a reception and a lot of stuff I knew, but the guide was very informative. But anyway, that's where I was. I was at this recording studio and I did a hybrid kind of a in-person hybrid event on the web, and I was sitting back at the recording deck, and you never know that this place exists. It's like in an office park, and this guy, oh man, he's got a recording studio, podcasting studios, lighting. He's got a stage. It was awesome. Rich Hart, man, you're the man. We did a couple events over there over the years, but I always like looking to see what was going on, and I think I had a little more hair back then, and I'm not as gray, but you know. Uh, I don't miss the printer. I don't miss the post office. And we can still print the magazine on demand, but we're 100% digital, And it was, first of all, it's been an amazing ride. I was a print face-to-face guy. And, when March 2020 came around, there were cranes everywhere. Economy was booming, and then boom, everything went kaput. I was lucky I had a digital magazine. I made the transition. And all of you that found me on the web, I am indebted to you for the rest of my life. You are gold because I never envisioned myself being a data digital guy, a content creator on the web, from where I was 5 years ago, 5.4 years ago. And anyway, I couldn't have done it without you. And I really appreciate you me finding on the web. And, Thanksgiving's coming up. So I'm going to give you an early Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for visiting the site. And it's just like I said, I'm indebted to you. I couldn't have done it, but it was an amazing transition, print face to face to going to the digital route, and we're on pace to do about 70 million people hitting the website this year, consuming content, looking at the magazine, looking at the podcast, looking at the events that we do, and it's it's just crazy. 8 billion people are on the planet. All right. AI technologies at warp speed. It's the most amazing time to be alive. And hopefully, and like this year's been a blur because I built a house. I'm surprised I'm still standing right now. It's just been, and you know what? I can't wait for 2026 because I've got my plans in place. I'm ready on December 31st. I'm taping up all my boxes. 2025, goodbye. Hello, 2026. And it'll be a different background. So today, got an awesome gentleman. He's down there in Southern California in LA, and his name is Kyle Tourjé. And he's at Alpha Structural. He's the executive vice president. Kyle, did I get that right?
Got it right. Nailed it.
Say hello to our listeners out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Yeah, what's the weather in LA today?
It's perfect. It's sunny. It's 75 degrees. We're all actually a little hot right now.
Yeah,
We're so spoiled.
yeah.
Thank God.
Now, listen, it's been beautiful here in the South. In the last 2 months, it's probably rained a couple of days, but there has been a cloud in the sky, and all of a sudden, it got chilly, and it's the first. It was cold. I did this podcast this morning out on my porch at 10 o'clock, and I should have had some long johns on, man. I need some gloves too. But I had a guy doing some shelving, so they were doing. I was like, I'll just do it outside on the patio, and it was cold. And my wife's like, "Aren't you going to go out there again?" I'm like, "No way! I'm doing it in the studio. I'm going in there where it's warm." So, but anyway, it's been good. Listen, it only gets cold in the South a couple months out of the year. You lived in Nashville, so you know it's basically December, January, and February. It starts to warm up by the end of the month. I mean, and you only use your air conditioning in the summer. June, July, August. The
Yeah.
heater you do December, January, February, and then there's months there you don't even do anything. You just keep the windows open. So,
Yeah.
the old man winter's here. I didn't even see snow last year, but it was cold, and just got my boat winterized. I'm done. I won't even see it until March, and it's been fun. So, in any event, Kyle, here's how we're going to do your interview.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell us your story. Then we're gonna roll into the roller coaster that we've all been on the last 5 years, lessons learned, trends, things that you see coming down the pike in 2026. And then you're gonna leave your contact info and a positive thought or word, and then we're gonna close it out. So with that said, the
Good.
floor is yours.
Well, thanks for having me, David. Really appreciate it. I'm very glad to be here. Anytime I can connect with, colleagues, professionals in the commercial industrial industry, I'm always pleased to do so. So, well, I guess my story is it's rather simple. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, the concrete jungle. Grew up in a small little kind of concrete jungle pocket called Glassell Park, just northeast of downtown in Los Angeles. I'm a second generation general engineering contractor. My dad, Dave, is a general engineering contractor, and we run this business together along with my sister and my mother. The I grew up in this industry since I was a kid. I've got just some of the funniest pictures on job sites,
Oh
pouring
yeah.
concrete, walking around deep caissons, deep pile foundations, retaining walls, um, framing jobs. And so I've been doing this since I was a kid. Got married very young, finished high school very young. Started working when I was, 14 and a half. I mean, I was really working with my dad on job sites much younger than that, but officially working
Yeah.
uh, 14, 15 years old. And it took a few years to go off with my wife. That's when we moved to Tennessee. Wanted to, experience the country. I'd never been out of California really growing up. It's such a Southern California is such a bubble, and there's everything there. You've got the beach, you've got the mountains. You could go, skiing, snowboarding, surfing, and I did all that growing up, and lots of skateboarding, in the city, you know, rollerblading, things like that. So we traveled the states, went to about 25 states. Nashville was home base, and came back and got back in the saddle, and I've been at Alpha ever since. Over 16 years now. So that's my story. All I do is professionally is I run technical operations here. That's engineering, forensic engineering, construction, project management, entitlements, approvals. Obviously, we're a highly regulated state with complex, building codes and grading codes. So this is the business that I know since being a kid, and I love it. Very passionate about it. It's a challenging, high risk business to be in, but it's very rewarding, not only professionally, but it has certain, profound impacts on real estate, culture, believe it or not. We have a nice kind of long, history of press pieces that we've done that show kind of what this industry uh, does to culture, and real estate. So that's my story, just a kid that grew up in an urban city, um, grew up, with
But
foundation.
out, but your company's expertise, I should say, is like historic and that in that sector. Am I right on that, or am I thinking of someone else?
Well, we're pretty diverse. So we have our core specialty is structural, and geotechnical
Like
repair.
old buildings and stuff,
Yeah.
that are
Repair,
out there that have been there,
restoration.
and you don't know if they're earthquake proven or, hey, man, look, you really need to reinforce this. But they're old buildings. Maybe I shouldn't have said historical, but they're just
Yeah.
old.
Oh, historic. Yeah, we work on historic,
Yeah.
old buildings, even newer buildings. The newer buildings are more construction defect related. But yeah, lots of old buildings. All we don't do ground up construction. All we do is we fix structural and soil related issues, and we seismically upgrade or structurally modify existing buildings. We're the existing buildings specialists.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Hey, listen, my family's been in construction since 1888. It's fifth, sixth generation. A couple of my cousins are.
I'm
I'm
jealous.
in 62. Yeah. So when I grew up on, we were in sustainability before even it was even a word.
Mhm.
But oh no, listen, if back in the day, I'm talking like the mid 70s, late 70s, I got my driver's license. Yeah, I graduated prep school in 81. So I got my in 79, I got it. So uh if you wanted to get your driver's license as a grandson, my grandfather was a combat engineer underneath Patton in World War II. So he rebuilt all of the bridges that the Germans had, or the bad guys had bombed.
Yeah.
And then when we came back, we had this old Super 8 millimeter film that we got transferred to disc of like all the old Jeeps and tanks. They all came back to the scrap yard, and they're cutting it down with these acetylene torches and scrapping it, and who knows where it went. But so I grew up just like you, down there playing on the cranes, playing in there. And my father was an upholstery, so we had a showroom in New York, and it was just, I still have my erector set. I have that erector set, man. In metal, you can't even find those things. You can find on eBay, they're gonna make it pay a
Yeah.
pretty penny.
Fortune.
Mine, I built so much stuff with that. And believe it or not, look, I'm a builder. I used to build this with paper, ink, editorial. I'm a builder. I'm just not using two by fours or I'll tell you, this is the funniest story. I'm on this job, and we were on outside of Philadelphia and on I-95, and there were these big tanks that we had to take down, but there was this building right next to it, and they were going to demolish it, but we needed to knock off all the asbestos that was on the pipes so they could salvage the metal. So uh, anyway, for the first couple of days, I'm the hose guy. So they use a hose to keep the dust down. That you're doing asbestos. So we're on the top of this freaking. No, we're in the building, and this crew comes in, and I got the tie-back suit on, the goggles, the respirator, all the stuff. And these guys come in, man. They don't have their mask on or anything. They were union dudes from Philadelphia, and
Old.
I'm like, hey. Aren't you gonna put your mask on? He's like, we don't wear no stinking mask. And there went his lung out the side of the thing. I'm like, I'm keeping my mask on, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be gross at him, but that still sits with me. I looked at my two cousins because we were all born in June, so we all had to got our license together. We all had to go and work and scrap. We were like the three amigos, and yeah, we were looking at each other like, put my mask on, man. Don't take it off when you're in here.
No,
So.
those guys are different. Like growing up and also hearing stories from my dad, like union rod busters, they show up, no gloves, no nothing, drinking peppermint schnapps, and just banging out rebar faster than anybody can imagine. It's just then you think about it today and you're like, there's no way that would fly
Well, I'll
today.
tell you, my first superintendent, his name was my Uncle Frank Schuler.
Mhm.
And he was a big dude. He's a motorcycle guy. And if you were like 1 minute, a second late, like you had to be out there ready to go at 7 o'clock in the morning in the summer. And in Philly, when we were doing that job, I had to be there by 7, which meant I had to leave at like 5:30 to get
Yep.
into the city. It was a good 45-minute ride. Anyway, but I learned so much about being on time, doing things right, know your surroundings. The overhead crane guys don't give a heck about you grunts out in the freaking scrapyard. And even though the grandfather is your grandfather, they don't care. That they want to drop something on you, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
just to prove your
Almost
worth.
a target, huh?
Yeah. So, but the whole it's like deja vu when I was hearing your story about, hey, you did and so I left, I worked, I did all those things. They all molded me and but anyway, but it was funny. Uh when we right when the shutdown happened, we redid our deck, and my son's like, "Dad, you should be a contractor." I'm like, "Brody, you know I come from a construction family, right? You know all the stuff I've done." He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah." So we built the house. I had never done a ground up before. My wife
Yeah.
had done a ton of basements on that. So when we did the house, I was like, she was like, "I don't know, we gonna be able to?" I'm like, "Oh, look, you can do anything with the right people, okay? And if you hire the right people and they have the right tools, they can get things done." And that's really what your job is as you know and uh but it really everything that you do though, after every build you should learn something from it. That's the most important thing that I think I learned. You can look at blueprints, but until you go out to the site and you see it getting cleared and all that, they can make it as much as they want on the schematic side, but you got to go out and look. And it's just um but
Funny that you say that because that's sort of how my father, started this company is obviously he was a contractor before starting Alpha Structural, but one of the critical reasons why he started Alpha Structural is the constructability issues he encountered across the civil and structural engineering profession was really, really challenging, in the 70s. And that was a big issue for him, especially doing, you know, more complex hillside work or, large commercial projects where you'd have to get, a dozen detail changes or, something just wasn't buildable. So our company, Alpha Structural, we're, not only, contractors, we're general engineering contractors, we're concrete specialty contractors. And of course, we have our general contractors license, but so we have three contractors license, but we're also licensed civil and structural engineers too, to really fill that vacuum of constructability issues, right? So our engineering process is very collaborative with our building teams, right? So we build things that are engineered well, and we engineer things that can be built the first time without a million changes. So that's a big deal in our industry.
I'll tell you what, we hired a third-party inspector just to have another set of eyes on all our before any of our inspections came through. And
Good.
the inspector for the county for the big inspection, which was mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and before the drywall goes up. Anyway, he had a really good comment, and he goes, "Hey, listen, Mr. Corson, man, look, you're gonna be building more houses. This is you're so cool because you're doing it yourself, and but the most important thing to me is I just want you to be safe. I don't want the house to catch on fire or any of that stuff. So don't think that if whatever I find here, don't take it personally. That you'll just be able to tell your subs if you use the same ones that, hey, we got to do this, this, and this, just so But this is a really clean build. I don't see, and but that just stuck with me because my job is just to make sure that your house is safe. Okay, that's the most important thing, and uh, you know, so building it and all that. Did I learn a lot? Oh yeah. I mean, there's things I would have done differently, but
Sure.
out of all the shoot, when I did the fence, I had a couple contracts. I told them like, I'll do the fence. I've replaced fences. I've
It's
replaced
expensive now.
I've replaced posts, but I've never done the fence before. So they
Yeah.
come out and they drop the freaking it's all packed in one from the fence company locally. They have it all wrapped, concrete bags, posts, everything's in there. They know
Yeah.
what you send them the plans. Anyway, and I had this 16-year-old kid. I rented a two-man auger, and I think I did 39 post holes.
Yeah.
And then we put up the board, and then they call it pig slop, I think, chicken wire, because
Yeah.
it's so anyway. Um, then a month later, I had to stain it, but now I could start a fence company, and people
Yeah.
are like, "Hey, who did your fence?" I'm like, "I did." You did? I'm like, "Yeah." Found the fence company, gave them the plans. They sent my
A bid?
and I and yeah, no, I swear to God. So I told my wife the reason why I was going to do it is because I was going to put it on her thing. It's like, look, if you want to do a fence, I would hire someone to do it. I would go out and oversee it, but I wanted to do it with my hands. That's the kind of guy I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to know how it's done. So we have
We
a
just
pool.
take care of this fence now.
We have a pool out there, 30 by 16. We marked it out. We didn't have the sod out there, and I told her, I said, I got these three quotes, and like they're so high. And so I did some investigation and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it myself. It's going to
Right.
cost this for the equipment, this to dig the hole. I'm going to hire the shotcrete and the gunite guys to come out because that's their specialty. And listen, one of the most if you're a subcontractor out there and you're good, I have no problem paying you for your expertise because there's certain things that I want done, you know, correct. Like if you have an electrical problem, don't hire a plumber. Okay.
Totally.
Hire an expert and someone that does it. Like my wife, we had 27 interior doors. She goes, aren't you going to hang those? I'm like, first of all, they're 8 feet. Second of all, they're extra heavy. And third, I want them to be like floating on air. We're going to hire a guy that brings his buddy in there and they'll crank out the whole house in a day. I'll put the hardware in,
Yeah.
but that's a specialty, hanging stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To have it go and flush and eat, it's an art. Just
Mhm.
like drywall or roofing, all that stuff. Your structural you, especially if it's generational and all of that stuff is down, it's amazing how talented some people are at what they do. And you take care of them, you feed them, you pay them. So if you have another job, hey man, I'm taking their job because first of all, it's fun. Second of all, uh, you know, the wife, she throws a couple F-bombs out there here and there, and she's like Barbie out there running the project. And but she'll
Sure
pick up
will.
the sledgehammer when she needs to too.
Yeah.
So let's talk about uh, you know, how you weathered it because look, I was in Georgia. So we really didn't shut down. We were the first state. Listen, we never even shut down. There were three construction projects. I watched them all go up. It was a fire station, an old folks home, and they were putting up a new rail or whatever. They were all essential. So, but you were out in LA, much stricter and stuff. So, talk about lessons learned, and as we come out of it, and there's some potholes and speed bumps that people hit, but pretty much we're out of it. Now we're getting done with the year. 2026 is coming down the road. There's all this investment, so much construction on data center. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going to happen as soon as the interest rates come down. It's all going to happen regardless.
Mhm.
But talk about how you weathered it and what you learned.
Well, the roller coaster period, the last 5 years, it was definitely challenging. We never shut down. In fact, things really got busier for us. We were very busy before the shutdowns happened, but what was challenging were the supply chain issues. I mean, just horrendous. We use a lot of specialty materials. A lot of stainless steel, galvanized steel, specialty treated lumber. Um, obviously equipment, and the those supply chains were just decimated for the first 2 years. It was crazy. I mean, the lead times, the costs just skyrocketing. If you look at the California Construction Price Index, which isn't even reflective of specialty construction, that's just an aggregate construction price
Of
index.
everything. Hmm.
Yeah, it just compounds. It's like 10%, 8%, 7%, 9%, 6% compounding over 5 years. It's wild. And that's just the general aggregate. That's not specialty, right? Specialty is higher. So that was very challenging. And then of course, there were very, the enforcement was kind of scary. Um, there were constant, surprise sort of enforcement inspections.
Was
It
that
it was
OSHA or was it
no, county
county?
public health, county public health. And it was sort of threatening, and it wasn't for being, an essential operation where, we're still dealing with catastrophic structural issues, collapse issues. We get calls for emergency shoring. Obviously the last 3 years, 2 out of those 3 years, we had back-to-back record storms. We had a 100-year storm 3 years ago and an 80-year after that. So we had tons of emergency landslide, retaining wall issues and work to do. So having that, curveball, and then having, a group of, public health inspectors just kind of barging into your office, menacing, making sure that everyone's 6 feet apart and
Yeah.
everyone's wearing masks at all times. It was a little scary, and it definitely made it more difficult. Even in the field too, if you're working in confined spaces, the 6 foot social distancing was a challenge. So it was a very challenging time to be an essential specialty contractor and engineer, dealing with, emergency issues, but also having this sort of looming county public health, not, I guess, kind of a threat, if you will. I mean, we're, compliant, but there are some times where you kind of can't be compliant, you know. Um, somebody could have a mask on, and then, they walk in at the wrong time when they pulled their mask to like sip a drink or something, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So it was so weird. It was so weird and so strange to go through, but it was really, we were glad to support our entire, staff during that time. We had remote work for, staff that could be remote. It was nice to be able to float, everybody and not lose jobs. But it was sad to see, industries just wiped out too.
Oh yeah. Listen, I mean, the restaurant industry got crushed. All those restaurants that were, there, half of them were, I don't even know what the percentage was, but I know it was more than one.
Yeah,
One was too many, and
yeah, yeah.
that didn't
That was
need
very sad.
that didn't need it. You know what I mean? It was just your like collateral damage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
uh,
we lost probably at least four legendary staples of, in Los Angeles of restaurants. I mean, at least four that have been around for,
oh,
hundreds.
it's no much more than four, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's just, oh yeah. I listen. Like I said, it really depended on if you were doing if you were doing like a federal a highway project and it was outdoors and whatever, you were probably okay. But if you were doing a redo of a bathroom, like
Oh
maybe
yeah.
Georgia, you were okay. But if you were in one of the up north or wherever, depending on what the regulations were of the state, you weren't going to get that project done because there's no way you could do. If you're an electrician, how are you going to get you need 6 feet? It's not going to work. You know, and I and
That was a challenge. The structural TI work, very tough. Very tough.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the contractors were definitely front line because people don't realize that, a lot of projects did not stop. They were made essential. So many people had to get on planes, the germ tubes, and fly and do their thing and go like and just like construction doesn't. Sometimes construction, especially if you were like on a healthcare project or yeah, and they were all deemed essential. I mean, not all of them, but a good portion of
Yeah,
them.
good
And
portion.
so if you were there, you had no choice. Just had to get a date. You just had to figure out the scheduling. Do we want to schedule? Do we want to do a little more night work? Do they allow you to do night work? I mean, I don't know. It depended on where you were.
All those issues came up.
Oh no, no. Listen, yeah, when connector downtown on 7585 fell through. There was a homeless person living down there, and fire broke out and it melted. Anyway, the whole thing came down. I mean, I had to go around to get to the airport for like 6 months, but they fixed that thing. They worked 24 hours a day, and there were people that lived down there. They were like out of their mind, but the city was like, "Look, this is like a serious artery that goes through the south. Millions of cars go, on it in maybe not in a day, but a lot of traffic. It's right, it's right above downtown. It's 85, 75, and it was a good, I don't know, it was long. You can tell when you go down the highway, it goes thump 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 thump, and then you're over it. But oh my God, it was crazy. But you have to get it done. So but here, there was no rush. Hey, we're in no rush. We can go another week or another month and I felt so bad for some of my buds, depending on where they were, because I know that they had to go. It was just you had to be so meticulous if you were in a highly regulated state to get things done, and then you need that one bad guy that's just looking to find, to make his name or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no.
It's
So What's one of the coolest projects that you've done in your career?
Well, oh man, that's that's a
Because
tough.
you've had to seen everything. I mean,
Yeah,
structurally,
yeah.
right?
Okay. That's a really
One that are, they'd be like, oh wow, yeah, that was really cool.
yeah. The well, I would say I was on this job site as a kid, really more of like a teenager. But my father, we um, we engineered and built the first and only privately funded infrastructure project in Malibu. It was a bridge. And it was a repair, though. It was an unfixable landslide that had cut off road access to an entire HOA of homes. And all the engineers working on this couldn't figure out how to restrain this landslide because it was so deep and there just wasn't, there weren't piles deep enough that could restrain the land movement. Um, so our structural,
Malibu's not flat.
no, definitely not flat, and it has,
Definitely not flat.
geological issues. So our structural engineer, Mort, who I apprenticed under for 3 years before he passed, um, he had the brilliant idea of instead of restraining the slide, why don't you build over it and allow the slide to continue, but bridge over the slide, and not try to restrain it. And this hit all the right notes with the HOA, with the HOA executives involved, with the city, with the county, and they all loved that idea. And we were instantly awarded the project because nobody had thought of that. So that would be probably one of the most, I would say, one of the coolest projects that we've done just in terms of ingenuity. There were probably six different engineering firms trying to figure out. They had spent just hundreds of thousands of dollars in or God knows how much in engineering trying to restrain this enormous landslide when there was no restraining it. So we just went over
Hey,
it.
sometimes you just gotta let Mother Nature go in the direction that she wants to go, man. You might nothing wrong with watching it on top of a bridge, at least right? I mean you
Right,
put
and it's I work Malibu all the time, and I work that same HOA, for different landslide issues and in other areas, and I drive over that bridge, and it held up just fine in the Palisades fire too. It was like engulfed in flames on two sides. It was a Caltrans spec bridge.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it was a 180 200 foot clear span bridge over the landslide. It was just such a cool project. So that was a cool one. I mean, I've done all sorts of weird stuff. We're doing a project right now, water intrusion and water table ensuring project that's in its early phases, and that's in an abandoned subway terminal under downtown LA. Enormous subway facility that is totally abandoned and was lost for many decades.
Oh yeah.
Um, we do a lot of fun, like adaptive reuse, converting buildings, eliminating, huge column obstructions, big beams, roof deck and assembly area conversion. So it's hard to say, big landslides. It's hard to say what the weirdest one was because all we do is weird. And we do
Yeah.
grading, from landslide issues to structural steel, reinforced concrete, um, and heavy timber. So it's a hard question. It's a hard question.
Hey,
I've
now
done
listen. Hey,
big structural
I like
restoration.
the one you said. I was like, hey, here's the thing. The
That one was just it was very unique. Um, it was just unique, but we do really, really crazy tight access jobs. I've done some very, very challenging tight
Mhm.
access, deep foundations and almost impossible access conditions. So, yeah.
So if you're out there in commercial construction coffee talk and you're looking, do a reuse or adaptive, or you've got some structural issues on a building that you bought, you didn't know it was there, and you need some help, and you got to think out of the box. If someone was going to reach out to you, Kyle, how would someone reach out to you?
Well, I've got LinkedIn directly. We have a call center if they just mention, the commercial construction coffee talk. Our phone number is, 323-258-5482. You can mention that, and I'll personally get my set of eyes on it if you mention
Well,
that.
here's what I'll do. I'll put Kyle's LinkedIn and his phone number and all that, his web address, all that will be in the description, and uh, and you can reach out to him there. But listen, I know everybody's got structural issues. I don't, you get 10 structural engineers come in, they're all going to find something different. I don't know. I just built my house. I can go through. I can test to it. So it was funny. The structural guy. Uh, uh, he goes, hey, I want you to put a little support on the to keep the roof up or whatever. So I looked at my third party guy. He goes outside. He goes, Russell, did you weigh the load that was going to be on there? He's like, David, I've been a third party inspector for like 40 years. Those braces aren't going to hold your roof up. He's just doing that to make himself look important. Okay. I was laughing, man. I just laughed. He goes, do this, put it up there so you get your CO and send him the picture. I go, okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
I just want to know if you did the calculation because I don't even I know what's going to bring that roof down, and we don't get that stuff unless it ices over forever, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
believe me, that what he wants done is it's a cosmetic thing. Just do it. And I go,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Do it.
just do it. Exactly. That's what he said. Just do it, and you get the sign off. I go, okay. So, hey, listen, if anyone wants to reach me, I'm at davidc@ccr-mag.com. Listen, Kyle got over here because the publicist sent me an email and said, "Hey, I have this cool dude, man. He does repair work and anyway, so that's how Kyle got on here. So if you don't send me something to look at, and they were just sending me a press release, but they just said, "Hey, he did just a little PS on there, and that's what caught my eye." And I was just going to throw the press release up on the web and be done with it. But look, send me stuff. We look at everything. It could be an anniversary. It could be a new product release. It could be an anniversary for your company. It could be anything. Let us look at it. We'll post it. We Google index it. We make sure the title's got the right amount and we make sure everything's perfect. So when you get it, you can share it and your SEO will go up because that's your search engine optimization. That's how Google finds you and or finds your URL. And but anyway, we look at everything, and I'm addicted to data, and I can't get enough of it. And so send it to us, and we'll find it very tough to get in the magazine. But we got plenty of other places, and believe me, they probably consume more content than they do the magazine. It's just we just have so much stuff up there. It's crazy. So send us stuff. Um, so as we finish up, Kyle, if you were going to leave, I got another question for you. I promise it won't be the stumper on the project. Uh, if you were going to leave one positive thought or phrase as we finish up 2025 and go into 2026, what would it be?
Well, to contractors or people or folks in commercial, um, you know, we're in, I would say, arguably the best position in a profession coming out of the last, 5 terrible years. There is infrastructure is a priority now across the political spectrum, which is great. The economy, the news cycle sounds scary, but we have our finger on the pulse. We do, projects on small residential all the way up to the most expensive houses, luxury homes built in the country, 120 million plus, all the way up to high-rise buildings and landslide projects. So we keep our finger on the pulse of the economy because we're very well diversified in our client base, our building types across multiple sectors, right? Private, public, residential, commercial, multifamily, industrial. So there's a lot to look forward to moving forward. It was a sort of a dark age over the last 5 years. But I think that we're seeing, changes in the market that, the I guess you could say the powers that be, really the major players in major industries, luxury real estate, heavy commercial, civil, industrial, they're making decisions now. You may not see it, but they're making decisions now in preparation for the next, 10, 15 years. And that means it's very promising. So, keep at it, build your business, build your networks, and prepare, because I think we have a lot to look forward to, over the next 10 to 15 years. It's exciting. You may not believe it reading or watching the news, but we see a lot of the behind the scenes as consulting engineers and contractors. We witness a lot of the transactions that are occurring in high-rise purchases. It may seem ominous. There are plans. There are plans coming in the future, and it's a very, very promising and exciting thing for people in the commercial and industrial profession to think with.
Hey, I concur. Listen, I've been saying all year on my show, hey, this is the most amazing time to be alive because there is so much construction that is coming down the pipeline, whether it's residential or commercial, industrial, military, whatever. I'm telling you, we got a builder, heading thing, and he's not screwing around. He does things right. He lives and dies by the budget. So, listen, the United States government is the largest contractor in the world. How do I know that? Because I'm a federal contractor. My wife is. All right. I understand it. Okay. I'm SAM registered. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do the registration. See, I do that. She doesn't do it. I do it. Okay. So, but in any event, I still say it's the most exciting time to be alive. I'm 62. All right. And I just think next 2026 is going to be the most unbelievable year. 250th anniversary. We got who's tomorrow? I think it's the Marines. It's their birthday tomorrow. I forget. It was Veterans Day. I forget. Anyway, it's just it's unbelievable what's coming down the pike. And so if you're smart, you'll get all your 2025 stuff all taped and shut because on January 1st, if you're not ready, you're going to miss the boat because only the prepared, like the Boy Scouts say, and I was a Weebelo and a Boy Scout tenderfoot. I think that was the last thing I did. Be prepared. I was the first one in my pack to get all 15 pins in my Weebelo. I got them up on my wall. I'm proud of those pins. Okay. So, a couple things before we finish up. Number one, if you're on a construction site, we want you to be safe. We want you to get home, be able to have dinner with your spouse, your wife, your kids, watch some TV, catch some REM sleep, and get ready to do it the following day. Oh, here's my bottle. The second thing, you got to stay liquefied. This is the athlete in me. If you don't stay liquefied and hydrated I don't care if it's summer or winter. Listen, every day you got to stay liquefied because when you don't stay liquefied, you get dehydrated. Dehydrated, you make mistakes. Okay, you miss the open goal, you miss the pass on the construction, you slice your finger, you get some. We don't want any of that to happen. Drink your water, put some electrolytes in there, stay hydrated. You'll have a much better day on the site. You'll have a much better evening and you'll have a much better sleep. Just continue. Hydration is key. Last but not least, hit the like button. We want YouTube to find the algorithm so it can push it out there and everybody can hear Kyle's story down there in SoCal in LA, part-time in Tennessee too, you know, uh, no state income tax in Tennessee.
I know.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah, no. Hey, Florida, they're going to get rid of property tax. I think there's six states in the country that don't do property tax, and I hope Florida gets it because we're right next to him. Because as soon as he gets it, Georgia's going to have to do it too. It's like the lottery. When one state gets it, everybody else has to get it because everybody's going to go across the state to buy a ticket. So you know. Anyway, uh, this has been a great conversation. I love talking to people in family businesses. Because not everybody can do it. It's tough, and you got a chance to go see the 25 states, with your lovely wife and hang out, and then came back. So that's an awesome. What a great story.
came
So
back, had a bunch of kids, and built this place up, almost 200 strong now in-house.
your kids, are they going to come in and fill your shoes? Have they
I hope
said anything to you?
my 4 daughters, I'm already talking to them about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get to them between sixth and eighth grade because once they get into high school, man, they see I want to go to Duke University. They got this pool and they got the thing going there. I can become an engineering student there. I can go to Clemson, you know, whatever.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh God,
I'm
listen,
working on it.
I was a hockey lacrosse player. That's what I went to school for. I wanted to play professional hockey. That's what my gig was. But
Mm.
here I am. I'm a digital content creator. Here I'm hanging out, talk to a guy in LA on the Zoom. You know, couple weeks before Thanksgiving, finishing
Yep.
out the year. No, it was great. Hey, Kyle, any last thoughts before you sign off from LA?
Well, we're supposed to have a dry winter this winter, so I hope that remains. I mean, we do have a hurricane coming up from the south, so it'll get wet and cold next week. So I know I was bragging about how nice and sunny and warm it is, but it's supposed to get drop down into the 60s or maybe even the 50s, and we're supposed to get rain. So, everyone, button up your job sites, stay safe, and thanks for having me on, David.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, we'll take the rain. We're about 4 or 5 feet down. Normally at the end of the summer, we're down, but this summer it rained a lot. But over the last 2 months, literally, it's rained like 2 days. That's it. And my buddy built the LED clock. He sold the county the clock. So when you go over the dam, I can see what the depth is. But you can see it on the shoreline. It's down. It's about down 4 or 5. I've seen it down 20 feet. It's up down about 4 or 5 feet. But during the winter, the one year we had the drought, it was down 20 feet. There were tr trees. I mean, and in like 2 months. It rained. It filled the freaking lake back up. It was crazy. I never saw anything like it. But we'll take the rain. I like the rain during the winter because we need the water. We need the water in the summer. So and so does Florida and Alabama and everybody else that we feed down there. So
Yeah, we have the most challenging, conundrum here when it comes to rain because we need the water desperately. California has obviously a water
but everything
crisis.
floods.
Yeah, but the problem is then everything either you get floods or in our case, you get, big high-rise buildings leaking like a sieve. You
Hmm.
got landslides happening all over the place. So we're in full disaster response mode during winter. It's very obviously lucrative for us, but we're in the disaster business, so you're always torn because your clients are adversely impacted. In these catastrophic situations, but it helps your business. It's the weirdest. You never get used to it. Every winter, it's just like, oh no, winter's coming. But your business is going to be good, but the disaster that ensues, it's just
Oh,
hard
I
to.
know. Hey, listen, every building we knock down, in demolition, there's a story behind it, whether it was, hey, this is technology, it's progress, or this was a danger, it needed to be taken down, or, that it was foreclosed on, no one wants to buy. I mean, there's all sorts of, so I get where you're coming from there. I mean, I always look, we get the hurricanes. So whenever the hurricane came through, up Asheville's about 2.5 hours from me, and held a couple events there. Built more beautiful. Place was just demolished. And anyway, that what's crazy is when I was building my house, I had just started my framing when that Helene came through, and that freaking storm went 600 miles and kept its. I've never seen it before and I just have questions. Anyway, but it basically jumped over Atlanta and then it went up there and just whacked Eastern Tennessee and Asheville. And but I just started my framing. So the framers on the storm came in on Thursday and Wednesday they were just finishing up and he goes, David, come up here on Friday after the storm and to go check in and make the frame still up. So I go up there, sure enough, whole front of the freaking house down was like pixie sticks. And didn't crack any of the concrete because they had bolted it down. So I took a picture and sent it to him. I'm like, Manuel, man, look what happened, man. And he's like, oh, don't worry. Half a day, fix that. No big deal, man. And so I didn't worry. But I mean, there you go, man. It's construction. Stuff happens, you know? What are you going to do? Mother Nature comes in. You just got to let her do her thing and then you go fix it, you know?
Pretty much. That's well said.
Yeah, I mean, I had no choice. I called my wife, I sent her the picture. I go, oh my God, you're not going to believe it, man. We have no front of that house. It was just put up yesterday because we left there, right when it started to rain. So, but listen, everybody, have a great rest of the week. And you got 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and then you got a couple weeks in December, and then Christmas, and this year's over. So, no better time than the present. Then clean your office up, get rid of your clutter, put everything in the 2025 box, and get ready to tape it shut on December 31st. Because you got to be ready to get into January 1st. I'm not going to tell you again. I've warned you. Be ready because it is going to be the most wildest year you've ever seen in your life. So, Kyle, pleasure to meet you. If I come out there, I'm going to look you up and we'll go look at some projects. Cool?
Please do. We'll take you to projects. We'll take you under buildings. We'll take you into high-rise
Oh,
buildings.
man. Listen, I'll bring my hard hat.
Landslide
I'll be ready, man.
management.
I'm ready.
We'll award you a hard hat. That's on the house.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, I look forward to it. And so say goodbye from LA or Malibu, I should say.
Malibu, wherever, Los Angeles, we do it
Yeah,
all.
it's the same thing. I know. I say Atlanta. I'm 40 miles I'm out here in the boondocks. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye from Lake Lanier, and everybody have a great rest of the week and a great rest of the year. You got about 6 weeks left, and then 2026, batten down. The roller coaster, man. It's going to continue, man. Biting that seatbelt, man, because man, it's going to be a wild ride in 20. But it's going to be fun, man. You're going to remember it the rest of your life. So, hey, Kyle, I'll see you later. Everybody, cheers. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. See you, Kyle.